There's something quite nostalgic about retro RPGs that you just can't put a finger on. The bleeps, the bloops, the pixels, and just that weird fun energy that you just don't really get in the modern day. Wow! It's the future! I'm cool now! And I'm playing a fun, retro-inspired, modern RPG. So, Sea of Stars. It's a retro-inspired RPG invoking the games of yore. Your childhood, that is. If you're old, like I am. We're talking about Chrono Trigger. We're talking about Super Mario RPG. Heck, we're talking about Secret of Mana. Does anyone remember Breath of Fire? I do. But that's because I'm old. The world may have turned its back on this style of RPG, but I never did. I believed. And that belief paid off. A brand new RPG filled with fun, colours, and a good old-fashioned good time. Our story follows two children of the solstice, born on the longest and shortest days, empowered with the strength of the sun and moon, becoming mighty solstice warriors with their purpose in life to be to defeat the hideous creatures created by the terrible Fleshmancer. Their names? Valere and Sean? I've honestly forgotten non-spoiler names and I cannot for the life of me actually find their names anywhere. I'll fix it in post. We join Valere and Zale, young kids making a promise to explore the world with their best friend Garl. Tragically, duty calls and Valere and Zale are separated from their dear friend for almost a decade to train in isolation before they can finally head out into the world, memories of their youthful dreams and promises echoing in their heart. Our heroes reminisce, their years of isolation made all the worse by the absence of their dear friend. If only Garl were here now. Oh, there he is. But now, faced with the dangers of the world that lie ahead, the cruel reality steps in. As Garl is nothing more than a normal man, not destined to do anything. He couldn't even handle a strong potion. Ah, screw it. Let's go, Garl.
Let's go, girls.
Your quest to destroy evil takes you to a number of fun and interesting locations. This mountain filled with a dragon, a fun mining town filled with mice and infectious music. A cool pirate town, and even being launched through the sky at high speeds by a giant rock golem. Yeah, maybe that one was more horrifying than fun. Those are but some of the locations in the very early starts of the game, and it is an experience that just keeps on giving more and more as it reveals one surprise after another, one new tantalizing location after another. Each location feels unique and fun, filled with this beautiful pixel art that fills the world with so much character and detail. Speaking of, there is a whole host of strange and fun supporting characters that keep things entertaining. Because let's be honest, Valere and are incredibly boring, so having other characters for Garl to interact with is always a plus. Teaks is a delight. The pirates are quirky, and Salai is a cool badass. The writing in this game flings between silly tongue-in-cheek nonsense and suddenly thrusts you into some hard-hitting moments. Sea of Stars starts out with a very simple premise: good versus evil. Children who are destined to carry out their duty to destroy a greater, more malicious threat that might threaten the world. But then it takes you on this wide and far-reaching journey that takes you through the world, experiencing new things, basically flying by the seat of your pants as there's new discoveries to be made, more interesting places to discover, and it's just so many things to behold. Yeah, the opening is, to be honest, quite dull, as you watch Valere and
Zale
do rudimentary training as they grow up, and they're both completely devoid of any form of personality, and it's boring. But you're put into a world that is, quite frankly, fun, and also full of secrets. The maps and dungeons are filled with secrets and side quests for you to plunder. You're incentivized to scour each area, talk to all sorts of people, snaffle away into every deep nook and cranny, possibly finding some ancient relic of some form. Oh, sweet! Mushrooms! Unlike a lot of games of this style, the story actually takes you back and forth to revisit old locations. So secrets are constantly popping up and the world actually feels alive, not just a checklist of fun ideas never to be thought of again. Plus, there's puzzles. Yeah! I don't think pushing a raft around counts as a puzzle, actually. Oh, but it sort of does though, because it feels so good. Dungeons are filled with simple puzzles that work to break up the just running around. Yes, they are simple and mostly easy, but they still feel satisfying as you work around trying to find all the little bits and pieces and things hidden away here and there. Plus, just using the various skills in your arsenal builds to a fun and more complex experience. Like using your divine powers to change the time of day. This is a great skill, one that I use all the time. I'm late for work again. Now that it's night time, which as we all know is where all fighting happens, let's talk about the combat, because, you know, it's a video game, so of course it's got combat, and that's probably like the main focus for people. Ah, Christ. Sea of Stars has turn-based combat. It is a classic after all. You take it in turns alongside the monsters to absolutely smash them upside the face, and hope they... Each monster has its own timer as to when it will attack, and that's just how many attacks you can do before their kill switch engages. Oh god, they're coming for me! So far, so standard. But there are two elements to consider. Number one, magic, and number two, the Mario Brothers. Magic! Monsters and enemies will look to cast spells, standing there eagerly twitching as they're ready to unleash pain upon you. But you can do your best to either interrupt or at least diminish the spell. Locks will appear relating to elements or types of damage, and you'll scramble to try and knock these out of the park as best you can, because magic hurts. This turns combat into its own puzzle at times as you scatter to swap characters around or choose the optimum order to use them in order to break a spell. Or, you know, just kill anything before it actually gets there. This can be like trying to work out who to use to generate the living mana, which then allows you to supercharge a future attack, but also provide additional elements to another person. So you're trying to work out who is needed for an element and therefore can attack second, and it just builds this idea of just a small little logic puzzle between each fight. It's pretty fun and turns boss fights into this sort of nail-biting mad dash as you scrabble around to try and lock off and to stop these devastating attacks that will otherwise completely ruin your day. But if the monsters can do spells, surely so can you. The Mario Brothers! We live in a modern day, which means that if you're not hitting the gamepad for longer than 10 seconds, you'll immediately shut down the game and during combat, you can follow up most attacks with a well-timed press to get in an extra hit. Or even a well-timed block. So, despite being turn-based, which could mean a lot of downtime, oh no! You are always focused and ready to block whatever weirdly timed attack is coming. Ah, damn it! But then, is that all that's reminiscent to Mario Bros. Superstar Saga? No! You have a bunch of spells and combos and skills at your disposal, and a bunch of them are involved. Much like Mario and Luigi's theoretical destruction of Sephiroth with their humorous chicanery by bouncing balls infinitely until the heat death of the universe, you too can bounce a Moonerang around and devastate everything. Again, these are fun, and the way different spells operate means that things feel fresh as you go through your journey. Oh, right, yes. My cat stood on my keyboard at some point. Not to mention, the bosses are really cool. They are the perfect crystallization of everything Sea of Stars has to offer. Incredible, beautiful pixel art, outstanding soundtracks for each one, interesting and emotive characters and concepts and themes taking place, as well as a challenging puzzle unique to each and every one. The bosses are the lifeblood of this game's gameplay, because each one builds on the last and also ends up feeling so much cooler than the last, and just keeps you going on and on to see what new cool creature or thing you're going to be fighting. Which is good, because the combat, it's good. I mean, I liked it, but also, well, it doesn't really build in any major way throughout the rest of the game. Each character has just 3 skills, and that's kind of it. And you're expected to use them quite frequently, because you've got a very small mana pool, but it does regenerate very quickly. So the idea here is you're going to be using these spells a lot. But when some of these attacks are long and involved and require just enough of a spark in your brain that you might not really be up for at that moment, you're going to end up probably resorting back to the tried and trusted basic attack. Sure, new party members do join the party and provide new skills, but the actual building and changing of your tactics doesn't really change beyond, well... Also, while the bosses are inventive and great, the normal encounters can sometimes outstay their welcome. While they're not simple enough to just be simple fodder, fighting the same 3 or 4 enemies in an area over and over can begin to grow boring, especially once you've worked out how best to deal with them. Yeah, mostly that. Sea of Stars is fun, it's quirky, it's sweet, it has absolutely jamming music, and is filled with strange characters and strange events. Much like James Joyce's Ulysses, it calls upon the classics to create something new and modern and just a little bit strange. Yes, that was an over-the-top ending point to use, and no, I'm not going to change it. I quite like the James Joyce line. But Sea of Stars is a modern classic. It is a fun experience filled with fun and colour, and just kind of brings back those sorts of kind of quirky, kind of fun RPGs from the past that it's like an entirely sorely missed experience in this modern day. And to be honest, that's something that should be celebrated more than anything. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to go off and play Sea of Stars for but a small period of time.
Oh, I've wasted my life.
Hello, thank you for watching my video. This is going to be super last minute because I totally forgot about it and I'm ready to make dinner and I'm really hungry and I don't have the time. Anyway, if you like Sea of Stars or other classic RPGs like the ones listed, Super Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger, etc., let me know. I'm aware there was a Super Mario RPG new release like recently. Anyway, so otherwise you can check out a video up here. This one's about Final Fantasy 16, another RPG, and then one down here, which is a board game review about Cattle Party, which is just a fun, quirky, fun-filled, art, good time, natured thing. Otherwise, you can click on my face to subscribe, let me know, etc. Thank you and goodbye.